Hello and welcome back. Thank you for joining me here. If you've never joined us before, welcome. If this is the 745th time you've watched one of these videos, again, welcome. Actually, there are more than that. This series has been going on for 4 years, and the number of actual video conversations now numbers well over 1,000. What that means is we've been at it for a while. And because these conversations are still necessary, very necessary in our mad, screaming, wobbling, tilting world, we're having another one today. So, welcome. In the text of A Course in Miracles, we're following a progression. It's pretty much paragraph by paragraph. What you'll notice, and if you've been studying this material for some time, you'll know from experience that there's a lot here. Understatement, right? In fact, this course is an entirely cohesive thought system, and every sentence of it contains the entirety of the thought system. All of the parts contain the whole, which is one of our lessons here. All of the independently existing, or so it seems, parts, which we call individual human bodies and stuff, are not who we are. We're rather the whole. Oh, I know you know that. The body's not who we are. So we're invited today to really take a look at this, which we have far too often feared to do. We've neglected to do it because of fear. That's all. Fear of what? Well, our own light, our own power, our own awakening, which would, of course, shine away our individual sense of self, the ego. This false, and I do mean false, sense of separate individuality. We've accustomed ourselves to cling to this so desperately that in many instances we'd rather die than give up our precious individuality. Yet this individuality is nothing. It is a false hope that we cling to. It is nothing. It is illusion. There is only perfect oneness. There is no separation of any kind. Here in the world as we appear to be, and I do, by the way, emphasize again and again, appear to be individual human beings running amok, doing our thing called life, sometimes being kind to one another, oftentimes being bitterly cruel as we do life. We're unaware. We're unaware of truth. We've made ourselves unaware of truth by choosing not to look at it and looking at our clouds of guilt, hatred, and judgment instead. We've chosen to see ourselves as individuals, as separate. That is a choice. It's a choice. which you do not have to continue to make. This is one of the themes here. You don't have to continue to see yourself as an ego, cut off and separate, listening to this mad voice that doesn't know anything. The ego is trying to teach you what you are without knowing what you are. Would you follow such an insane guide? That question comes from chapter 8 of the text, by the way. The ego is trying to teach you what you are without having any idea, not the slightest clue of what you are. So why follow that kind of ridiculously circular guidance that leads you to yet another cliff, a different cliff this time, and bids you jump? And we follow blindly, just like a bunch of lemmings. Off the cliff we go. But it's a different cliff this time. Maybe the outcome will be different this time because this cliff is shinier. It's prettier. It's taller. It has more jagged rocks at the bottom of it. The grass is greener on the edge. Oops. I mean, really, it's not a flattering picture. Time to quit playing it so small, right? Right. We've limited ourselves far too long. Time to put that aside. Having given your allegiance to the ego, you have the power to withdraw it. It is nothing. Remember, just a second ago, we talked about why would you follow such guidance? A thing that's really nothing, trying to teach you what you are without having any idea what you are. You could listen to the guidance of the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, instead, who knows what you are, and you do too. Go there. You are the Son of God. This term refers not exclusively to Jesus. It's all of us as one. One. That's the math test, by the way, in A Course in Miracles. You have only to count to one. You just did. Congratulations. You've passed the math test. There is no advanced algebraic formula, for which I'm very grateful. Because, well, I don't know about you, but in high school, in this lifetime, years and years ago, I struggled mightily with that stuff. And maybe you didn't. But the math test is one. That's all the counting we need to do here. There appear to be 8 billion plus raving, screaming human beings. Yet it's not who we really are. The Holy Spirit knows who, what, and where you are. Will you listen to its guidance instead of the ego's? Far too often we've answered no. You're invited to answer yes today. That is a very simple invitation that's always there. Always. One of the things here as we study this course that we find so very difficult to do is to see our brother as he is. This is very, very important, and people run from this. Run screaming, saying they can't do this course. Of course you can. Actually, the idea is quite simple. We introduce the difficulties ourselves. Really, I mean, when you think about it, that's true of all of life. It's very simple, and we introduce each and every complication and gradation and layer of stuff ourselves. We're the ones that mire ourselves in all of the stuff. Having done that, we can undo it. Here's how. See your brother as he really is. Because this is very, very important. As you see him, you see yourself. As you see other people, what appear to be other people, you see yourself. How would you see yourself? Would you see yourself as a frail human body condemned to a slow decline, which you may arrest for many years with good physical health, only to discover that, well, it can go bye bye in a flash? Mm. Would you see yourself as grossly limited, frail, and decomposing? Well, what happens when you see yourself that way? That's not a pretty image, and we don't like that. So, what we do, believing we're a body, is we attack. We can't stand feelings of guilt, fear, so we attempt to put them off on to somebody else. We project it. We don't have to project it. Even though it's habitual, this is what spirituality is all about. Forming new habits. If you thought it would be shinier than that, it's not. But the result is well worth it, which I know you know. As we see our brother, we see ourselves. So, moment to moment, we each have a choice as to how we will see him. Will we see him as a grossly limited, frail human body with gray hair and aches and pains and all the associated frailties and decompositions? Or will we see our brother as he is, the Son of God, in his power, strength, joy, peace, radiance, limitlessness, boundlessness? As you see him, you see yourself. Choose to see your brother with the Holy Spirit, with Jesus, as he is, not a frail human body, but the Son of God. Choose this. No, we're invited to try it and to do it again and again. This is a choice. You have this choice. If you say you don't, you've just exercised that choice. I mean, we all know that. People say that, believe it or not. You've come so far in spirituality to be paying attention to this message. Don't hold yourself back now by saying, oh, I have no choice in the matter. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. That resistance that you may be feeling is the ego. Remember, it's utterly confused, doesn't know what you are, who you are, has no clue, yet still wants you to follow its guidance off of the next shiny cliff. Really, the ego keeps crashing the car. Why allow it to drive? It's not capable of it. But the Holy Spirit is. That's our choice. Could it be more obvious? The answer that leads to truth. It's our choice. So, this is something that's quite common, quite common. So, to the extent that you're experiencing this and having an internal dialogue with yourself, saying, well, I really can't see this person as the Son of God. They're doing things that I simply just don't agree with. And that's putting it rather mildly, isn't it? We all have those situations. It could be a single person, it could be a group of people from any arena of life. Now, I often use relationships and politics, workplace relationships as examples. It could be from anywhere in life. People have a hard time forgiving. They say, I can't see this person as the Son of God. All right, well, you know you're invited to, because as you see him, you see yourself. Do you see somebody who's really ugly and limited, or do you see your own limitlessness? Because that person is not a body, just as you are not a body. That person is not an actual limitation, just as you are not a limitation. Your brother is completely boundless, just as you are completely boundless. So we're invited to train our mind to see this. Now, to the extent that you find that you're really not able to go there today, right now, and you think, well, maybe I'm not ever going to be able to do that in this lifetime. Okay, well, start with what you have presented to you. Start with what you're capable of doing, really. If it is seemingly small, so what? It's just as effective. Start where you are. Popular phrase in spirituality. You may be familiar with it. In fact, it's a book by Pema Chodron, the Tibetan Buddhist nun. A very, very good read, by the way. Yeah, start where you are. Start with what you're capable of. Start with what's presented to you, because when you relax and trust and follow the guidance of the Holy Spirit, you will not be given more than you can do on a given day. Yet count on the fact that you'll be given plenty, plenty of opportunities. Plenty. In fact, anything that's not wholly and completely joyous is an opportunity for us to forgive. And you will have plenty of opportunities to see your brother as he really is, as the Son of God. So if you can't go there with a certain person today or a group of people, there'll be others that you can go there with, and you begin to train your mind and experience the results of that. This is how we learn the best, by experience. That's why this is a self-study curriculum, which we learn by doing. Yes, it's important to understand these ideas with the intellectual thinking mind, yet you very well know that the intellectual thinking mind that we so adore and worship in this world only takes us so far. Isn't that the case? We can sit and stew and cogitate on things all we want. Is if we're not doing the work, our experience doesn't have the opportunity to show us that these ideas are true. This is learning on the most visceral and effective level, putting these ideas into practice. Do that. We all invite you to do that. Put these ideas into practice. That's how we learn. And it's often been said that a really good course student is one who keeps messing up and forgiving themselves, right? Yeah. Don't forget to see yourself as the Son of God. As you see your brother, you see yourself. See yourself as the Son of God. What's going to happen then is very cool. You'll naturally wish to extend that, and you'll start seeing your brother as the Son of God. I mean, there's only perfect oneness after all. So, this is an invitation. It is all the time. The Holy Spirit's always calling us to awaken. The call is universal. It goes on 24/7 without pause of any kind, and it goes out to all of us. It's universal. Now, of course, there appear to be people right now in the world that aren't listening to the call. So be it. You are. So I thank you for joining me. Hmm. Any conversation about spirituality at all, no matter the tradition, is really an invitation to practice. So along the way, it's fully expected that questions are going to arise. And why wouldn't they? Right? This is deep, deep self-inquiry. So I'm here to serve as a guide for you. Should you have questions, please feel welcome to leave them here. Now, if it's something that you deem to be of a very personal nature, and you don't want to ask here in this public forum, please let me know that in the comments, and I will give you my email address, and we can do it that way. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, because some things come up. Understatement once again, right? So if you have questions, this is a great place to pose them here. It benefits everybody, but not just yourself. There are people on the other side of the world whom you're highly unlikely ever to meet in person in this lifetime that will benefit from your question as well. So please feel welcome to leave them. And if you have not yet subscribed, please also go ahead and do that. We'd love to have you. That's the prompt over here in the corner of your screen. Just click that icon, subscribe, join us, and we'll see you back here again. Thank you so much.